Power Automate is a great solution to integrate different cloud services into a business process. For example, you can use Microsoft Forms as registration page together with the Dynamics 365 connector to create new customers in your ERP system. What you see here is a registration page created with Microsoft Forms. You provide the name of the company here, and afterwards you choose if you're a domestic company within the European Union or outside, and click on the send button. Now what should happen is that this information is taken and a new customer should be created within Dynamics 365. To do so, we're going to create a new flow in Microsoft Power Automate. So let's switch to flow. In flow, we create a new flow. We're using an automated flow, and the trigger is a response for Microsoft Forms. And we have to choose which form we are listening on. And we are listening on the register as a new customer. And as soon as a new response is submitted, we're going to fetch this information. So we create a new step. The connector is the forms connector. And the action is get response details. Again, we have to choose where we want to get the details from. And the response ID comes from the trigger here. In order to create a new customer in Dynamics 365, we have to provide at least some fields. We have to provide a name, a currency, a sales tax group, and a customer group. So we're going to create two new variables here. And let's say initialize a variable. And what we need is the sales tax group. This will be a text, and the default value for the sales tax group in my case is this value here, and I give it a nice name. And the second variable is the customer group. The customer group is also a text. And the default value for the customer group in my case for domestic is this here. Now we have to check what the register has provided as information. So we're going to a new step from control to the switch statement. And we are looking in the response details to the residency. And if this residency was European Union, or if this residency was other, then we have to change the sales tax group and the customer group to the according value. So I'm going to add two actions here from the variable, the set variable. So in case this company is company within the European Union, the customer group value is in my case EU. And the second action for the variable, and this time the sales tax group. And if this company is in the European Union, the sales tax group in my case is the EU. You don't necessarily have to rename all these actions, but this is best practice to give it a meaningful name. So in case this is not domestic and not European Union, but other, we have to set these two variables to another value. So the customer group would be, in my case, this value here. And the sales tax group goes with the same logic. So again, we are setting the variable sales tax group to D, Drittstaat in my case. And now we are ready to create the record in Dynamics 365. So we're going to add a new step here and choose the Dynamics 365 connector. We're going to create a new record. We have to choose the instance. In my case, this is my test instance. And the entity I'm using is the customer entity. There are some entities containing customer, but I'm looking for a specific one, this here. And as soon we have selected this entity, we can provide additional information. The currency, I'm going hard-coded here with euros. The customer group now can be taken from our variable. That's a variable customer group. The company, in my case, that's a legal entity in Dynamics, is demo. The customer account will be taken automatically from a number sequence. And what we have to fill in is the organization name and the sales tax group. So let's look for the sales tax group. The sales tax group comes from the variable sales tax group, and the organization name comes from the form, and this is the company name. So this is everything we have to do. We are going to create a new record in this Dynamics 365 entity, and we are using this customer group, the sales tax group, and the organization name. So let's save. Close the search bar, and we are ready to test our implementation. So I'm going back to the forms, and I'm providing a name here, test flow company, and I'm a domestic company, and submit my answer. Now that this answer has been submitted, the flow is triggering in the background. We can have a look how this is working. So it says succeeded, and we can have a look at the details here when we see what happened. So all these steps have been processed, and when we go to our Dynamics 365 implementation and to all customers, we see here the test flow company is a domestic company, and when we do this for a foreign company, and now I'm not part of the European Union and not domestic, and provide this answer. Again, the flow is triggering, processing the information, and will create a new record in Dynamics 365. Again, we can go back here. We see the flow is running at the moment. This takes a few seconds. is succeeded. When we go to Dynamics 365, refresh the customer list page, we see here this company has been created for outside the European Union for Drittstadt, in my case. So you see, this is very simple to integrate different products into one business process and also integrate Dynamics ERP system using Power Automate.